Greetings, ladies and gentlemen players. It's another wonderful Monday, this October of 2023, making it a wonderful day for murder. And as you can see, I'm over here on the OGS with two people who, there and there. There we go. I can point in the right directions. With two people who aren't clearly me. And that's because I've got to give credit where credit is due. I like going over nice, aggressive, bloody games, and the one I literally just saw last night, I can't outdo it. I can't outdo it. Not possible. I can't outdo it. You can't outdo it. It's just that freaking crazy and just that freaking bloody. So, alright, even though I was admittedly looking forward to maybe playing some 7 Dons or maybe going on Tie Gem and working on getting my 7 Dons over there, we're going to go ahead and look at these two professional 9 Don players because holy crap, what you're about to see is insane. Game starts off as games often do, with the players taking opposing corners. Black 4-4-3-4, white just a 4-4 point into a 4-4-3-4, so far so good. Game can go every which way, but you know nowadays when black or white, I suppose I should point that out, has Sente and there's a 4-4 point, you know what you're going to see. And sure enough, we're going to see it here as well. A 3-3 invasion to take all of the corner. And a Joseki that is most deceptively complicated, if I do say so myself, because while the sequence itself, of which there are a few, look like they could not be any more easy to follow and understand, it is the follow-ups, actually, that make the variations very difficult. In this board position, for example, we have black taking not a lot of territory. White, on the other hand, is getting a wall. That wall is influence, that influence is potential, and that potential, it can grow. It's hard to keep it constrained, you might say. It is black's job when 3-3ing to figure out a strategy for how they're going to constrain that potential easily in, well, I would say the mid-game, but pretty early on in the game, generally speaking. With Sente, white takes the enclosure just like so. Black Ataris and drops down because that is a commitment you're making. That is just a commitment you're making. If you do not follow this up, then your opponent, let's say you play like an enclosure or something, then your opponent gets to go back and do this, something like this. The danger here being, whoops, now the influence is going two different ways. That's becoming even easier to handle. Or maybe you're going to play something like this one instead. And play out this particular Joseki, where now it looks like black is losing some stones, white's getting some influence. It's a little bit of a head scratcher. So a lot of variations. The Atari into the Descent gets rid of them again. Unfortunately, it also gets rid of Sente. So now black has given up Sente twice in exchange for taking this corner. Once here, and again here. Like I said, it's a bit of a complicated Joseki to play, the 3-3 invasion, because you're having to make all of these little decisions over and over and over again. So white approaches, black backs off because he knows he can't just decline and attack over and over and over again. We do have to build territory since we haven't really obtained any for ourselves just yet. We've got about 11 points, and that came at the cost of Sente twice. We can't keep making exchanges like that through the game. Otherwise, we're going to get to the end of the game and realize we are horribly behind because we kept giving Sente over and over and over again for like 5 points at a time. Not a good trade. So, alright, plays the back off. White plays fast because he's got some influence to his name, so putting that to use just makes sense. black pincers. We play a straight out common Joseki. We don't really see the jump out anymore. Reason for that, of course, is because if we see something like this, now white's losing Sente for influence for reasons that we don't actually know. Like for the influence, what is it doing? We don't even know. We would have to have some kind of thing like maybe here now jumping out and getting the thing would make sense because you're tying everything together, right? Yeah, something like this to jump out into the lean makes sense because we already have influence on the board to use that influence. So this clearly is not that board. So into the corner we go, and then bop, bop, bop. Now I've seen this a lot, just playing the small knight here rather than playing this. Again, it's not one is better than the other. It's all about follow-ups and what have you. Don't worry about that. Next move for black, building up. You would think that they would start attacking right here, and you absolutely could. You could absolutely attack here. As a thing you can do, it makes sense. This turns into a reduce white rather than a build black kind of game. But black wants to build because there's this area here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 by 7. And we have a lean here to keep growing. It makes sense to build, right? It makes sense to build. But since we have this now, we don't want to get pincered. That's a little bit too much. So white responds. And this starts the reason why I picked this game. Because truly, nothing at the moment is too remarkable. This is all pretty standard stuff, with the exception of the upper right. That sequence was chosen. Not all that common, but okay, it's an interesting. But not, ooh, he played this instead of this. I have to go over this game. No. This, however, standard, but turns interesting very quickly. White plays the Hane. Black plays the move that everyone expects. And white descends. Now, this is a first kind of interesting move, because white could have Atari'd and dropped down, and essentially we would have the exact same position that we're about to wind up in. Right? He plays here, connects, same exact variation. Like you can't, I'm switching between the two branches right now and you don't even know because the board position is the exact same. Right? So, okay, drops down first. Sure, why not? Extends. You can see the reasoning behind both parties. White wants to build the left, and black has kind of got the eye on building the top because there's a wall here, a wall here. He's also got follow-ups here to build it even larger. I will say this, however, and this is where the difference between this move and the traditional this move come into play. If we made this exchange, the 017 stone, you'll notice, is getting hurt very much. When we don't do that, on the other hand, well, we can think, you know what, that stone ain't quite taken out of the game yet, is it? Hasn't been injured, we can attack the wall still. Very slight difference, but it's going to come up again. So let's watch. So far, we're just playing normal, calm moves. Hane ahead of 2 and 3. White identifies I'm strong here. Cuts black. Okay. Black says, do you mind if I have all the force moves in the history of ever? White says, I would mind, because if we just were like, ha, I am in here now, then you've got like a whole bunch of this kind of stuff going on, right? Technically, and this is, I'm not advocating for this, but you could even bamboozle your opponent a little bit further if they're playing Puppy Go and really mess them up. Wouldn't advocate that. But, you know. So, alright, we have the Atari. We're going to extend. Another Atari. Building up the influence. Okie dokie. White plays again. Why does white do that? Well, if white does not, this, like it or not, is annoying because now you're going to have to go here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then defend that because that's still a thing. At which point, oof, got a whole bunch of free stuff in that middle. That's crazy. Are we going to get all the way across the board? Because if we are, white should probably contemplate resigning at their earliest convenience. Influence, contrary to popular belief, is still alive and well, especially when it gets out of control. Influence, when it's manageable, okay. Influence, when it's literally across the entire board, not okay. You don't want to do that. So, alright, here we go. Playing big moves. White playing solid. Black affording the same courtesy, taking the cutting stones. Now we attack. Question is, was this exchange worth it for black? Can black make this exchange worth it for black? Forcing move. Into build. Okay. Understandable here. You can imagine right now a stone similar to this one. We can still get that influence going right off the board like we'd like to all of the time. One thing that black probably wants in this game also, I should point out, is probably a co for later. So white should be very, very aware of that as well. Because all of these, as previously stated, are co-threats, including these sorts of things where you're now threatening to live here as well. So probably need to beware going forward not to play some kind of weird co. White says, forget my stone, because if I just do this kind of thing, and then this kind of thing, they know what kind of game they're getting into, right? Black is just going to be building. Yes, white's going to take a lot in the upper left-hand corner, but when we're talking about 7 lines of territory across potentially 10 lines, right? That's going to be worth more than any corner in the game. Like that's how it's going to be. So, all right. Big pickup for black. But this is where we see the decision of the small knight coming back into play. Because now we can attack the 3 stones. Since we didn't make that Q18 exchange, now things are getting interesting. The Hane invites the cut because the cut kills off the 3. This is a very, very subtle but important point to be making during games like this. It is the fundamental principle behind what your response is going to be depending on if you are weak or strong in the area. If you're weak in an area, you kind of need to be careful sometimes and not get too aggressive. If you're pretty strong in the area, because, 3 stones and 3 more stones plus 1, okay, so we got 7 stones versus 3. We're pretty strong locally in the area, so we can kind of go crazy. If our opponent cuts, we just go and swallow up his wall. That's going to be another great big corner for white. Black says, okay, I get it. You're after my 3 stones. White says, you're right, I am. So much so that I demand to know what you're going to do about that. This probe, this probe, really nice. Black says, hey, I'm going to kill your 2 stones. See, look at that, I'm killing your 2 stones. White says, no, you're not. Black says, okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, you're right, I can't. Could have played TA18 first because of the cutting point here. You probably took a notice of that one. Still not 2 eyes in the corner, however. So doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things right now. White comes out, says, hey, you're dying here. Now, I want to point out again, even though this is a game that was played on Fox, these are two professional 9-dans. I apologize, I don't know who black is. I forget who black is. Or, no, sorry, not black. I forget who white is. Black's name was easy to get. But yeah, 2 pro 9-dans. Gotta come out, gotta cut, cut protected, carrying on. Defend, and attack. So the fight is escalating. We've got the weak group for black here running out, and now we've got the 2 stones. Does black defend the 2 stones? Absolutely not. Because now that this has been reinforced, it just means that you're probably going to, let's say you try. You're going to be like, I don't know. Let's say that's alive. Great, fantastic. Here's a question for you. Can you survive that now because you've been completely netted? Yeah, you've been net. To be fair, this isn't even completely alive. And trying to live would involve something insane like here into like here into here or something. But all that really does is just kill off the top anyway, right? So it wouldn't make a ton of sense to even try to do that right now. So, alright, we turn. Gotta be mindful that we're not completely alive here either. We get our base. Everyone is playing pretty rationally. Until we then decide to live on top of the board. Now the variation that I just showed is no longer there. We've lost our ability to make an eye here. That is important. It will be coming up shortly. Black decides I'm going to live. White's just like, hey, strength. I like it. Living, living, living. And now we are alive. And now we are alive. Okay, 2 eyes for black. Not very tough to do. So we go back and attack again. Because now, nice and strong, right? White's group is nice and strong. Black is still not alive locally. So here we go. At this point, I will go ahead and give a nod to the counters amongst you. So we know how many points of territory we're working with here. It's not about the territory count, though, this game. I highly doubt either of them was thinking about it overly hard. But some people do like basing what they're doing off of territory, so here we go. This, we've got about 40-ish points conservatively. I haven't killed off these stones yet because they're not technically dead. Haven't counted this yet either, which could easily be another 369 because it's still open, right? Okay. So we're about 47 points plus Comey, so we're in the 50s. We're in the mid-50s. Okay. Now, if we ask ourselves that for black, let's go ahead and ask the same question. Hey, you, how many of the territories do you have, sir? And we're going to get an interesting answer there as well. That's 30, and then we've got like something here, and then we got like something here. So we're about 40-ish points. But white is never reducing all of this. So let's go ahead and just give him half of it. We don't know how he's going to make half of it, but there's no way he's not going to get something there. So we're at about 50 to mid-50. It's a pretty close game in and of itself. The second question then becomes, who has more weak groups? That answer is black. Therefore, white has a bit of an advantage right now. Extends. Hanes, because we are strong. Black says, hey, can I kill you? White says, you're not going nowhere. And connect. Making sure the stones stay dead. Extending out. Connecting. Now, some of you are probably raising your eyebrows at this. Probably thinking to yourself, hang on a minute. Does Black not realize he is in trouble in the upper right-hand side? He's one move away from being surrounded. Is there a living sequence there that I'm missing, maybe? What's going on over there? No. The answer is no. You are not missing anything. Not a thing. That stone, little group in the upper right, is all dead. It's all dead. True story. That's a time Suji, by the way. But you can see why it was sacrificed, can't you? Because here's the thing. If white is allowed to attack black across the entire board, let's say he played here, here, into here, and then we do something like ute, picking up more points, that could be a problem. That could be a very big problem. Because you just get to invade at will. We could go even further in because we have a place to run to. That point, where is the territory they're gonna come from? Hard to say. Though we might make this exchange first, I suppose. There into there, probably, huh? Something like that. Bit more of a tough game. Bit more of a tough game. So, okay. Okay. So he decides, I can't win that way. But you know how I can win? I can win by getting 10th line territory across the entire bottom of the board. Oh yeah. Yeah. That is how we're winning this game. That is bold play. That is how you know you are watching professionals. Nice, clean sacrifice. It wasn't like he got to here and then Black was like, oh my god, I forgot all about my group. I better start, doing random stupid things to see if my opponent can actually kill me, right? Sorry first, my bad. That would have been an example of a random stupid thing. Yeah, we've all been there, right? Yeah, it is not that. It wasn't accidental. He didn't forget his group was weak. He decided, I'm sacrificing it to build a bunch of points. And if we ask the score estimator, hey estimator, who's ahead right now? Well, frack, it's still a 10-point game either way, I guess. I thought it was closer, my bad. So, here we go. We're still building. Huge turn here because that was Sente. That right there is enormous. Big points taken. Don't have to Atari and capture the 2 stones. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish at least that we just picked up for ourselves. Plus the reduction for the end game. Plus, it's Sente, because if he doesn't take, then the Atari into the take ends the game. So great Sente response. However, despite the fact I have nothing but love and respect for an opponent who will look at a bad position, try to find a way to turn it into a good one, like we see here. Those stones were weak. I'm gonna give them up. I'm gonna build 10th line across the entire bottom of the board, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like we said last time, times 8 and 9, admittedly, is a huge freaking number. I love and respect that. I also love and respect that white doesn't care, because he's a murderer. Apparently it wasn't just one group that the professional 9-dan was forgetting about. It was 2. This is threatening to poke. At that point, this would threaten to poke. And we have no eyes yet. Looking for forcing moves, we cannot be allowed to kill that, to have this be killed. Defense, because that Hane is insanely good. I love strong life and death play, because mine sucks. Yeah, mostly it's because mine sucks. So we get the push. We get the defense. Again, defense. Looks like we're connecting up, right? But he is not. Threaten first. Can I come in? If the answer is yes, you lose the game. Have to respond. Can I come in? If the answer is yes, you lose the game. Have to respond. Don't connect. I come in, you lose the game. Have to respond. It's death in slow motion, but it shows a complete understanding of every win condition that Black has. He's like, I can't keep doing this. I have to turn here, but if I turn, I'm surrounded. If I'm surrounded, I'm dead. Asks, am I alive? White says, you can be. Get rid of your win condition. Those lovely 9th and 8th line points that you wanted so gracefully. Let me in. Let me in and you can live. Black says, no, you can't. To which White says, then no, you can't. Tries to cut. We have a little bit of kitchen sink action here where Black is admittedly going to just start throwing everything possible at these opponents. But dead is dead. This isn't a solid eye yet, and we don't even know how to get the other one, let alone get it in Sente to go back and connect here. We're trying anything we can. Nothing is working. He has to resign. Such a smooth, clean game for White. It's actually insanely, stupidly impressive. His moves could not have been any more calm. Like, you didn't see any move that White didn't have to be played. He didn't go around probing, hunting for things. He didn't leave things weak in the hopes of just dealing with it later. There were no crazy invasions to try to, like, sacrifice and wrap around and do a thing. Nothing bizarre. Nothing bizarre at all. And yet right now... Okay. For some reason, he thinks this is alive. Guesstimator, this is not alive. This is currently dead. You're even giving him the territory for it. I don't... Okay, that's a problem. Now he gets it. So yeah, White's up by 60 points. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. At this move here, obviously, Black had to throw in the towel. Hope you learned a little something about attacking. Hope you learned a little something about being very wary of influence. And, as always, I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.